Honorable Ngwenya.
Good morning,
Honorable
Chairperson.
Arnold, how are you?
I'm all right. Yourself? Good morning.
I'm good.
Morning, Honorable Arnold.
Good morning, member. Are you good?
I'm good, sir.
Sure.
Thank
Thank you.
you very much, honorable members. I think we should start. We have got a sitting in the afternoon, so I hope we finish early. I saw in the speakers list, most of the members from this committee will be part of that debate. Good morning, honorable members, and I want to take this opportunity to welcome all the honorable members who are part of the meeting, together with the team from the department and the entity. You are all welcomed. We're gonna ask the committee secretary to deal with the roll call and apologies. If there are any apologies, Secretary.
Good morning, Chair, and all the honorable members. I have 3 apologies. The one for Minister, who is attending the cabinet meeting, as well as the Deputy Minister. There's also one for the acting DG. Thank you, Chair.
Chair.
Thank you very much. Levo.
Good morning, Chair. Just the correction on the DM's one. DM will be joining shortly. He is landing at around 10 past, but will join us as soon as he lands. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much. From the department, I hope there is somebody leading the team. We'll give them an opportunity to make introductions and start with the presentation.
Good morning, honorable members and colleagues. My name is Murunga Mutengu. I am the senior mining specialist in the department. I look after Alexkor. I'll be doing the presentation, basically giving background, and then from there onwards, I'll give over to the Department of Rural Development, who are closer to the issues in terms of the community and also CPA matters. If that is okay with you, Chair, if I can continue?
Yes, we are in your hands.
Okay, I'm going to fly the presentation from the DPE.
You are not a co-host. I don't know whether you'll be able to fly it.
Oh, let's see.
No, Chair, I have given them sharing rights.
Okay.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine.
Chairperson. Chairperson.
Honorable Nana.
Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Fine. My conscience doesn't allow me to keep quiet, Chairperson. You know, Chairperson, you teach a person how to treat you. And when that person treats you exactly in the manner in which you have taught him or her, you will start complaining. I don't think it's correct, Chairperson. We've been complaining as the committee. And I do understand that Wednesdays, it's cabinet meetings. The minister must be in cabinet. We propose that these meetings must be changed to later times so that at least we can have the minister or the deputy minister. Now Lebo comes in to say the deputy minister is on a flight. He is landing 10 past 10. It's unacceptable, Chairperson. Every one of us have made an effort. Flying in from the Eastern Cape on time, people flying from all over the country on time, or remaining at their places of residence on time for this meeting. I don't think we should allow these kind of things to happen, Chairperson. And I find it astonishing that you don't have a comment in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I needed the deputy minister to come in first so that I don't comment, and that comment is not directed to the correct person. So the comment is still there, Honorable Nana. We recognize that. I said in the last meeting, we are going to request because our committees were at 3 o'clock until 6 o'clock, so that we accommodate this issue of ministers. It was changed by a committee section because of the plenaries that are there in the afternoon. So basically, we have already made that submission that the committee requested last time. We have done that, and we hope that we be accommodated. Even when plenaries are planned, they also accommodate our committee so that we don't remain as a committee that every time we sit, there is no minister that is available for us. So
recording in progress.
We'll have to wait for the DM to come so that we can raise that issue, Honorable Nana.
Thanks, Chairperson.
Chairperson.
Honorable Ngausi.
Chairperson, thank you. I thought too, you are going to have some sense of a reprimanding comment relating to this matter, because we can't be working in circles and we can't be undermined like that as a committee. We've raised this matter continuously, and it looks like this is the only department that does this to us. And we're not so sure where do they get this audacity of just making sure that the time of the meeting, they are on a flight, they undermine us like that. So I'm going to request that, honestly, we get the deputy minister here and make these comments and make these reprimanding comments, because it's a constitutional obligation for us to perform oversight over this department. And if there's no political will, it means we're just gonna work in circles and in silos. And whatever that we are raising here will never be resolved because there's no political will. So I don't think we should be some sort of treating this minister and deputy minister with soft gloves like we did. And it has been going on for a very long time. We have been raising this matter softly in this committee. So I think it's time that we wait for the deputy minister so that he or she, or whoever he is, must come and apologize here, or tell us the real reason why they undermine us like this.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nkause. Like I said, we will wait for the deputy minister to join, and then we indicate the discomfort that the committee is having in relation to that. Thank you very much, honorable members, for the comments. Can we move on with the presentation?
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. So I'm going to cover four topics, and that is currently the background and also the status of implementation in terms of the deed of settlement, and also how far the department has gone in implementing the deed of settlement obligations. For a bit, I'm not going to go through this in detail, but as a background, the community won the land claim in 1998 following protracted court proceeding, the community of Richtersveld, and three departments, including Alexkor, were part of the agreement that was signed, and it was reached in April 2007. And and from that, the deed of settlement provided that the structures, the community structures are established to look after the interest of the company. 2 trusts were established and 8 companies were established to look after various assets of the community that they were awarded. There were, in terms of the original deed of settlement, there were about 50 directors in total that were required to oversee the interest of the community. However, there's been dynamics and conflict amongst the community members, which resulted in collapse of some of the structures. And this had negatively impacted the operations and the effectiveness of the Richtersveld Communal Property Association. And as a summary, these are the community structures that were established. We have the community structure on the left and the investment structure on the right. As you can see, there was a Richtersveld Community Trust that was established. It had to look after, and under it had 5 companies, which was the Richtersveld Self-Development, and the 4 companies, the agriculture, the environment, the property, and the mining company. And also on the other side, there was an investment structure established, which had Richtersveld Investment Trust and Richtersveld Investment Holding that were established to look after the interest of the company, of the community. So far, the companies, there were challenges in terms of the companies. Some were left unattended. They were not operational for quite some time. The only company that was operational, it was the investment trust that was and is still operational. The rest of the companies are not operational as such, in terms that there are no directors active in those companies, meaning the directors elected from the community. From the mining side, there are 3 court-appointed directors that have been appointed to look after the mining interest of the community. The 3 directors are not from the community. They were appointed to ensure that the pooling and sharing joining venture, which is a joint venture with Alexkor, continues to function. But however, rural development will give us more details on how they're going to, or how the mining company will be regularized. And unfortunately, the agricultural holding is liquidated. There has been, the funds were they've vanished, about 50 million. There were also orange farms, there were ostrich farms and mariculture, and those have been destroyed been destroyed completely. And we have been working towards how we can resuscitate those, the agricultural holding company, to assist the community in terms of opportunities, since that area is quite, the people that are quite destitute, is a poor community. Property holding, it was not active. Also, Richtersveld Environmental Rehab has not gone off the ground, if I can say that. It was established, but it never really operated. In terms of the provisions of the settlement, there were about 8 obligations, which were, the first one was to establish the community entities. That was completed. Rural development will give more detail in that respect. However, the CPA was placed under administration in February 2020. The transfer and restoration of land, these were the farms and 500 residential properties that are meant to be transferred to the property holding company. This one is delayed due to the property holding company not being operational. And the department would rather prefer that there is an established structure so that we avoid the same situation that we saw with the agricultural company where the monies just disappear. There are about 12 farms. The 12 farms have been transferred. However, the remaining is the 500 residential properties. And this goes with the 45 million payment. This is for the community to look after the properties once they've been transferred. They're still under the name of Alexkor, but it's awaiting the regularization, if I can call that, of the property holding company. And the third provision was to transfer the mining rights. This has been done. The community owns all the land-based diamond assets, and Alexkor owns the marine-based diamond assets, and together they formed the PSJV in a 50-49 joint venture, 49 to the community. Also, 200 million was also advanced to the PSJV to recapitalize the mining operations, since some of the operations were destroyed and they needed to be revitalized. The fourth was the establishment of the Township of Alexander Bay. Previously, Alexander Bay was a mining compound, if I can call it that. But the deed of settlement directed that that the Alexander Bay be registered as a township that will fall under the Richtersveld municipality. And in that, Alexkor was required to upgrade the infrastructure and subsequent to that, to hand over the municipal infrastructure to the Richtersveld municipality. This also has been a challenge. The municipality has indicated that they do not have adequate funds to take over the services. But we are working with the Northern Cape provincial government to see how we can facilitate the handover. The fifth was the environmental rehabilitation. This has to do with the mine operations before the settlement was reached. So all the environmental rehabilitation before the agreement, Alexkor is still responsible for rehabilitating those areas and return them to acceptable or close to its natural state. This project is ongoing. Alexkor is left with about 2 years of rehabilitation. And once that is completed, this obligation will be closed. Number 6, there was a payment of 190 million to Richtersveld Investment Holding. The amount was paid in 2007. We checked about a year ago, the amount was standing around 300, almost 400 million that the community has, that was meant to be for projects for the community and also for other developments that the community wants to undertake. Number 7, it's the transfer of the farming and mariculture assets. This was done, unfortunately, as I've stated earlier on, the company was liquidated in 2012. And the other, so in line with the farming and mariculture assets, there was a payment of 50 million. The payment was made, and this also has disappeared, or people have misused these funds, and we can't. No one can account how these funds were utilized. This leading to the company being liquidated, and I believe Rural Development has undertaken a forensic investigation to establish how this money was utilized. And in terms of the amount or the money that was spent to date in terms of government, it's close to 1 billion. This includes all the the monies that have been transferred to the investment trust, the 200 million given to the PSJV, the 50 million to the agriculture, and all the other monies that were utilized to upgrade the municipal infrastructure. So in total, the state has spent almost $1 billion in the implementation of the Richtersveld land claim. And these are some of the properties that are still outstanding. Some of the properties will be transferred to the Northern Cape provincial government. This includes the police station and some of the schools that are within the Alexander Bay Township. The others will be transferred to the local municipality, and also the houses will be transferred to the property holding company once it is re-established. Yeah, in terms of the payment, I think I've touched on it a bit, and this is relating to the 500 residential properties. Yeah, as the department, together with the Department of Rural Development, we've attempted to resolve some of the issues since 2015, but we have failed in that regard. I believe this has led to the community structures being placed under administration in 2020. The 45 million is kept in a trust account. And this trust account is managed by Alexkor attorney. So once rural development confirms the appointment of the directors on the property holding company, the transfer of the 500 residential and the 45 million will then will be transferred to the property holding company to manage as envisaged by the settlement agreement. Okay, I believe that's where my presentation ends. If there are any questions, or we can move to the rural development presentation.
Yes, we can move to the other presentation so that we make inputs to all of them at the same time.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning.
You can continue.
Oh, thank you very much, Chair. My apologies, I was muted. Honorable Chairperson and honorable members of the committee, my name is Khozo Moeketsi. I am responsible for the regional office of the National Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. As an office, we report to the Director General of the department through the Deputy Director General responsible for provincial operations. I am going to take honorable members through the presentation. It's a brief one, Chairperson. With me here, I'm with the 3 colleagues. It's myself, the Director responsible for CPAs, Ms. Batlan Lekalake, the Deputy Director responsible for CPAs also, Mr. Itumele Mashune, and lastly, Advocate Don Majid, who has been appointed by the DG to be the administrator of the Richtersveld CPA. By way of background, okay, before that, these are the areas that we are going to cover. will give a brief introduction. Secondly, we'll focus on progress in terms of implementing the court order that was granted by the Northern Cape High Court on the 22nd of February 2020, and then we'll deal with challenges and we conclude. Chairperson, just bear with me that I'm struggling with technology. Okay. Chairperson, as I said, this particular CPA, the Richtersveld, is one of the hotspot CPAs in the Northern Cape. And it was placed under judicial administration through a court order granted on the 28th of February 2020. Just to share with the committee that prior to this court order, there were intervention, made by the department. If I can just share with the honorable members, between January 2018 and April 2019, the deputy minister, that is Honorable Mcebisi Skwacha, went to that community, to try to intervene, given the dynamics then within the CPA. So as the department, we have done everything that we could, to ensure that there is stability within the CPA. But unfortunately, Honorable Chair, we could not succeed. Hence, we recommended to the Director General that he must consider placing this CPA, which is Richtersveld, under judicial administration, because the CPA could not execute its own responsibilities in terms of the Communal Properties Act. So application to court in terms of for judicial administration was done in terms of Section 13, subsection 1 of the CPA Act. After this process was followed, Honorable Chairperson, after the court order, the DG then appointed honey attorneys to be the judicial administrators. And then the said legal firm, appointed attorney Don Majid, to be the one who will represent the CPA. I mean, to represent, to be the judicial administrator of the CPA. So the appointment of the administrator is for a period of 3 years, and this is in line with Section 13.2 of the CPA Act. So what we have done, Chairperson, we have sent a court order together with this presentation to the committee so that the committee can get a sense of what are the issues that the court expects the department, to execute. The last issue under introduction that we want to share with the committee is that the administrator has met with all the representatives of the community around Richtersveld. He has developed a work plan, and that work plan has been approved, which is the part of the court order. So the following slide, Honorable Chair, it gives, a progress in terms of the court order. I will start with the first one. I think my colleagues from the Department of Public Enterprises, they touched on this. As a department, we also have certain responsibilities in terms of the deed of settlement. So the first issue that the court wanted us to do is to review the deed of settlement. And then in terms of the time frame, Chairperson, this will be in the second year of administration. Remember, Chair, at the time when the court granted granted the order, it was towards the end of February. And towards the end of March of the same year, it was locked down. The country was locked down. Members are aware of that. So it took time for the administrator, to start with work. So these are the activities, Honorable Chairperson, that we are expected to do in terms of reviewing the administration. Reviewing the deed of settlement. And this is expected to be from the second year of administration, which is February of this current calendar year up to next year, January. In terms of progress, Chairperson, as a department, we have appointed an attorney who's working hand in glove with the administrator, to assist in the review of the deed of settlement. Like as my colleague from the DPE explained, we are working together on this issue, together with the DG in the Office of the Premier, Northern Cape Provincial Government. So we are on. We are on track in terms of this review of the deed of settlement. The second one, Chairperson, as directed by the court, is to ensure that the administration of the CPA is conducted in an orderly, efficient, and accountable manner. As I explained in my introductory remarks, Chair, this CPA was unable, to manage, to conduct the affairs of the CPAs in an orderly and efficient manner. So that is why, we approached the court. So here, Chairperson, the administrator is expected to perform the day-to-day management of the CPA, issues around planning the budget, and the establishment of a fully functional CPO office and related structures. He is also expected, to appoint farm managers to manage the properties of the CPA. This one, Chairperson, is for a period of 3 years. That is beginning of February 2020 up to 2023, when the administration process comes to an end. In terms of progress, Chairperson, the plan was adopted at the annual general meeting, which took place during March 2021. There were those meetings, Chairperson, where the administrator and some of our colleagues, interacted with the communities. So this has been done, Chairperson. So the plan has been adopted. The third one, Chairperson, is the sound management of CPA assets. And this was done during the first year of administration, that is February 2020 last year up to January this year. And there was also addressed, Chairperson, during the AGM. And a copy of inventory reflecting immovable properties as well as movable ones is available. We'll share it with the committee secretary. The fourth issue, as directed by the court, was to deal with the issue of membership register. Remember, Chairperson, when we say a CPA is compliant with the Act, one of the requirements is for a CPA to have an updated membership register. Remember, in the process, some members, they passed on, and then they have to nominate, others. So this list needs to be updated on an annual basis. So, Chairperson, this one also is for a period of 3 years. It's an ongoing process, and the administrator, with the assistance from us, is attending to it. There is progress on this one, Chairperson, because the CPA cannot go to an elective annual general meeting without an updated membership list or register, which has been duly adopted by the members themselves in an AGM. So there is progress here, Chairperson. We have investigated the membership situation, and we have also allowed through the administrator membership applications, and the register has been adopted. The fifth one, Chairperson, is to consider whether there is a need to amend the constitution of the CPA and the investment and community trust structures. One of our colleagues, talked from the DPA, talked to this issue. This is expected to be done from the second year of the administration, which started in February this year. I said earlier on that an attorney has been appointed, and is busy considering this matter. So as soon as the report is available, then the attorney will brief the administrator, and then the community will be informed. The sixth one, Chairperson, in terms of the court order, which is part of the work plan of the administrator, is to ensure some financial management of the CPA. One of the issues raised by members, where the CPA could not, execute its, the committee could not execute its responsibility. There were accusations relating to financial management. So those are the activities, Chairperson, and here I just want to point out that the DG has approved that the administrator must have access to the bank account. Remember, he has assumed the responsibility, the day-to-day, responsibilities of the executive committee of the CPA. So that approval has been given, and then he has the authority, The reason why, he must have access to this, he must ensure that when there are meetings, the administrator is able, to use monies from the CPA. So we are also on track on this one. And fortunately, Honorable Chair and members, an accountant has been appointed, and is bringing the financials of the CPA up to date. The seventh one, Honorable members, is to ensure payments of dividends from entities to members. There has been raised in the presentation of VPE. Those are the activities, and this also started during the second year of administration, which is February 2021. And then this will be done once the new trustees to the investments trust are appointed. That process, Chairperson, has not yet been finalized, and the elections of this will take place, all things being equal, Chairperson. We are anticipating that elections, of the new trustees will be before the end of this month. And I think the administrator, if he's given the opportunity, will elaborate on this process. The fifth one, Chairperson, is to ensure the execution of general meetings, special meetings, and AGMs as contemplated in the CPA Constitution, and any other meeting the administrator deems fit the fulfillment of his tasks. As I said, Chairperson, here, the administrator developed an annual plan indicating the types of meeting to be convened, and he has assured us that he's sticking to that particular plan. Unfortunately, some of our colleagues, are always there, to provide him with the support. So the plan, was adopted during the general meeting of March 2020, and is the one that the administrator, is using. The ninth one, Chair, I'm almost there, is to conduct the election of the CPA committee in terms of protecting of the Constitution. I think here, Chairperson, this is the main issue here. Remember, the committee, the previous committee, the one that led to the department taking the matter to court, could not execute their responsibility. So one of the tasks of this administrator is to ensure that there is a proper, elective annual general meeting to elect people who will take over, the running of the CPA. So election of the committee members, is to take place in all the 4 towns, and this must comply with the constitution of the CPA. Honorable Chairperson, we engaged the IEC, but then the IEC could not assist us because then it said no, they were busy preparing for local government election. As a department, we then appointed a service provider, to attend to the issue of the election. And this process started on the 30th of September, and then the election took place on the 6th of November. And the administrator will elaborate on this issue later on, Chairperson. The 10th one is to write, which is the last one, is to write and submit the formal documentation required by the CPA Act and the Constitution. And then this will be done at the end of the administration, where the administrator will say, look, since I assumed office as per the court order, this is what I have done. I'm now handing over to you as the executive committee of the CPA, to make sure that the affairs of the CPAs are run in terms of the CPA Act as well as the constitution of the CPA. Challenges, honorable members. One, the issue of COVID-19, like I said earlier, this impeded, in the possible convening of meetings, We had some meetings were delayed because of of COVID-19. The main issues around here is the membership list, where most of the activities of the CPA rely on. Like I said, they cannot go to an elective AGM, if the membership is not in order. The other issue, is the adoption and submission of the solar panel development application. Bohubai development, Beulah Farm election in relation to different structures. All of these, Chairperson, there were delays because of COVID-19 regulations, where we were not able to ensure that the required numbers of people must attend the meeting. The second challenge, Chairperson, is this issue of the former committee, the old committee members who are not willing to cooperate with the administrator. Some of them are aggrieved because they contested this application in court, and then the court ruled in the favor of the department. Because of the unhappiness, they are unable to cooperate with the administrator. This is a serious challenge. The third one is the task team, illegal representatives of the community. Here, Chairperson, I think it was around March, April, if my memory serves me well, where a particular community representatives came to the same committee, claiming to represent the community. And I want to reiterate what I said in that meeting, that as a department, we do not recognize this task team because they are doing their things outside the CPA. And now this creates confusion within the community. And it also, leads to some perceptions, because there are some community members, who have this negative perception, about government, and also some of the structures within the community. The fourth one is the challenges within Alexkor. My colleagues from DPA has touched on this, especially around the issue of community demanding financial information of Alexkor on something that is outside the administration process. This whole issue of financial information just to do with Alexkor, but some community members, they go to the administrator, about this information. But from time to time, the administrator explains to them the process that they need to follow. The last bullet, Chairperson, the colleague also touched on it, the transfer, of some properties, to the CPA. The challenge here is around the issue of the rates and taxes, the Bohubai development, the 45 million story. Because of the outstanding issues here, Chairperson, it also, brings some uncertainty within the community. But here, the provincial government of the Northern Cape is assisting the two departments. They are also involved here. Both DPE and us, we are working with the DG in the Office of the Premier to address this particular issue. And then in conclusion, Chairperson, we want the committee to note progress in terms of implementing the court order, of placing the Richtersveld CPA under judicial administration. That is our story, Chairperson, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I don't know as to whether there is any addition from the department. If there is none, I will now go to honorable members to interact with the presentation. Honorable Lavskakni, Honorable Bibi, those are the two hands for now.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Ngause, the third one, yes.
Sorry. Thank you. I'm sorry I came a little bit late. I entered a little bit late, so yeah. First of all, I would like to ask a question, but I need to get an answer before I can go on with my second question. And I know it's normally not the way we do this, so I will just put them all there. I know that the departments are now giving us feedback on the court case and the whole judicial administration of the CPA. Now, I would like to know, and I need us to make this clear, and if that cannot be made clear today, we, as a committee, we need to delve deeper into this. What would be the relation or the impact of the PSJV board, the board that has been, according to the to the AR or the UR, the unanimous resolution. That was, when the original deed was done. There was also a unanimous resolution, which was actually provides the framework of governance. Now, in the previous parliament and in this parliament, I referred to the unanimous resolution. I actually did a written question on that, and I have never got clear answers on that. And the Oversight Committee sitting here, the Select Committee, has never seen that document either. So what I've got from submissions to the Zondo Commission is that the unanimous resolution actually provides a governance framework for the PSJV board and how it should be. Now, according to that, I would like to know what would be the impact of this board not functioning in the way it should on the CPA that should be established. Now, for years, the CPA could not be established because of all these things that you've mentioned and a lot more. We know that. This committee in the previous parliament and again in this parliament said we would like to have a full report on the functioning of that board and also why the CPA can't function. So now the department took a step in the right direction and go to the court on the CPA. My question is, what is the impact of the board not functioning correctly? The last time I checked, according to the UR, the Alexkor part should have 3 members on the board, and the PSJV should have 3 members on the board. I would like, although it's not the scope of this, I would like to have an answer on what is the exact composition of that board at this moment. And then I would like to know what would be the impact of the functioning of that board on the CPA, specifically because the board deals with the business side of this agreement, and the CPA with the community side. But there is beneficiation involved in this, and in my mind, the non-functioning or the effective functioning of the board will have an impact on the CPA. And I would like that to be given to us clearly today. Thank you.
Honorable Bibi.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Chairperson. We welcome the presentation from Alexkor. Chairperson, I've got 2 questions. The first one is, has diamond production capacity improved in Alexkor? Or has it worsened since the last time it was reported to us? And if it has worsened, where does it take the future of Alexkor as a company going forward? My second question, Chairperson, is regarding the 45 million rands that has been put in a trust fund. Has the money accumulated any interest? If yes, Chairperson, what are the estimates? And if no, what are the reasons for it not to accumulate any interest? Thank you, Chairperson. Those are my 2 questions.
Honorable Mkausi.
Chair, is the Deputy Minister here?
No, I have not yet received the indication that is here.
We were told that the person is landing at 10:10. It's 10 to 11. Chairperson, it took the department a very long time to act on everything that has been happening in Rechtersveld. I believe there's a regional office in Kimberley which deals with rural development matters in that province. If maybe we can be clarified on why they took so long for the matter to be dragged like this, and for even structures to fall apart like this, and money being spent without government's oversight. I mean, we do have an office there in Northern Cape which is supposed to be monitoring the whole situation. If maybe we can just be told why they took so long. Someone needs to account, Chairperson, and we can't be told at this level, at the select committee, that we don't know what happened. This and this happened, but government has got an eye in that province, including their national office. The liquidated company and the money spent. Can we be told what were the efforts made from the department side to find out what led to this liquidation and what led to the whole collapse of the structures there that are supposed to be functional, Chairperson? What have they done so far to remedy the situation? I mean, we can't be listening to complaints. We need to be listening to progress, not complaints from the department. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Ngwenya and then Honorable Arnold.
I'm here, Chair.
Oh, you are also, you did not raise your hand. You are raising it physically.
Yes, Chairperson, apologies. Yes, Chair. Thank you.
No, you are not. You'll be the last one, Honorable Man.
Thanks, Chairperson. And thank you for the presentation. Honorable Chairperson, having listened to the presentation, I would like to make the following comment before I ask important question. Chairperson, I would like to start by raising a concern regarding the long period it has taken to resolve the issue of membership. The establishment of structures for the community has caused the delays in beneficiaries receiving their dividends. It is also caused in fighting in the community. We urge the department responsible to resolve this matter, to work very hard to stick to timelines. In terms of the question, Chair, I've got these following questions. One, on membership list, the CPA annual general meeting was held on the 23 to 24 March 2021 and decided that the membership list must be finalized and adopted by end of May 2021. The question, Chairperson, I wanted to check that whether there are still outstanding challenges on the membership list, and if yes, what are those challenges? What are the timeline and time frame for the administrators and the department to resolve these practical outstanding challenges? The second question, Chair, is on conflicts. I want to check whether there is any conflict between members of the RCPA community and different departments, which is affected them from working together. If yes, what is the cause of the conflict? Third question, Chair, is on old community members refusing to work with administrators. What are the reasons for the old community members not willing to cooperate with the administrators? The fourth question and the last, Chair, I wanted to check on the Alexkor and Department of Public Enterprise. Has the company improved security in the mine by installing advanced surveillance cameras to control the theft of diamonds? Whether the office of an Alexkor is located in Pretoria, and if yes, Chair, I wanted to check what is the latest update on relocating offices to Alexander Bay. Thank you, Chairperson. Ngiyabulela.
Honorable Arnold.
Thank you, Chairperson. Let me say that we note the progress made in terms of the implementation of the court order in respect of the Richtersveld Communal Property Association administration process. And Chairperson, we hope that the 3-year administration period will resolve the ongoing challenges, because it is a sad state of affair that the Richtersveld community at large cannot benefit and enjoy the benefits of their own community. My question, Chairperson, is with regards to the protection of the assets, so that the community can benefit from the assets of the association. Can we get feedback in terms of the investigation of unauthorized use of assets, and in terms of accountability, what accountability was there in terms of that? Then, Chairperson, we are all aware that since 2018 there were many attempts to organize the election of the new communal property association, though. So this is a long-standing matter. And we see now that there is a date scheduled for the 30th of November. We want to check now why has it taken so long, because this is the most important process in terms of the election of those communal property association structure. So why did they put the date at the end of the month, and why wasn't it done before that time? Because this is very important in terms of that process. And then one of the members have raised the issue of the old committee members that don't want to work with the administrator. But my question, I want to rephrase it then, in terms of the administrator, is he getting now the necessary cooperation and support from the department in terms of driving the process faster, so that we cannot, after I think it's now more than 20 years that the Richtersveld community is still in a state where they can't benefit from their own benefits. Thank you, Chairperson.
Honorable Nana. Honorable Abskakne, are you raising up your hand, or is an old hand?
Chairperson, if there's a second bite on the cherry, I would like to ask another question, but I understand that the other people have to raise it.
No, we can allow you just after Honorable Nana.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Master, go ahead.
Yes, the platform is yours.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, honorable members and our guests. Chair, I would really want to latch on the last point by Firstly, let's on the last point by Honorable Arnold. He is correct. It's now more than 20 years since this process was started. I remember very clearly the previous parliaments were also seized with this matter. Now, my question to the department, how would you rate yourselves over 10 insofar as your performance is concerned when it comes to this issue of Rechterveld? How would you rate yourselves out of 10? The second issue, Chair, is the fact that the department had to go to court finally to obtain a court order. And I don't have issues with that. I don't have qualms with that. But where my worry is, courts can only do so much. You are here dealing with individuals, dealing with a community, dealing with communities. What other measures is the department putting in place to ensure some sort of reconciliation amongst the warring factions or the warring groups in Rechterveld? As I said, I do accept the court action route, and the courts, gave a sound and a clear judgment. Hence, today we put an administrator in place. But post the implementation of the court judgment, I do think that community does require some level of assistance in at least pulling together the rather fighting factions at this stage and then warring groups in those communities. And the third question, Chairperson, revolves around the liquidated company. I had goosebumps when the lady from the department, I just forget her name, I'm sorry, responsible for mining, said money was unaccounted for. And this money runs into millions of rands. This money was meant to benefit the poor people of Rechterveld. Now, you will know probably as much as I do that if somebody is a director in a company, or if somebody is a senior manager, a senior executive in a company, those people are enjoined by what we call fiduciary duties. They cannot do as they please with the money entrusted unto them. Has the department bothered to seek recourse and get back the money? Has the department bothered to approach the courts to actually declare those directors as unfit to hold further office insofar as directorships are concerned in any companies? And lastly, has the department checked whether these directors are not serving in other companies that might be linked to the state? Thank you very much.
Honorable Lavskakni and Honorable Smith.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Yes, I want to also allude to some, I see some of the other members ask questions, not specifically only on the CPA, and that's why I also raised my hand again. Some of the members referred to the theft and the diamond production, and Honorable Nana referred to the thing that is really at heart here, the value of the trade that didn't go to the community. So I've got three questions. I would like to know up to date what has been done to prevent theft from the plant and the various things, whether it's the plant, whether it's the trailings, whether it's wherever it is. And has the Alexkor or the PSJV initiated polygraph tests again? And if not, why not? And then I would also like to know, and I've raised this in a written question, and I still don't have the answer, and I want to know this today. Would the department please give the select committee a clear understanding or a clear explanation why Alexkor is exempted or not following or are not complying to the PFMA or the Financial Act? Because according to my knowledge, the agreement is a 51-49%, which makes Alexkor the shareholder, and the Department of Public Enterprises, which is a government, a shareholder, because that's that part of Alexkor. So that makes it a Section 2 company. Now, from where I'm sitting, as in an oversight role as a MP, I just don't get it. I don't understand why this is being done. All other state-owned enterprises has to follow certain certain financial guidelines, and can be held accountable, because that is the big part, held accountable because of that. Now, there's no accountability here, nowhere, because accountability is resting upon certain people being appointed in certain positions or being elected in certain positions. Therefore, the fights, people disappearing, the threats, the anger, the fear, people lost jobs, they lost contracts. All those things are going on in that community. We've been there. We've witnessed those things. We've got people speaking to us, writing to us. None of those things can be sort of pinpoint because there are certain financial procedures that we in Parliament can't hold people accountable to. Now, I want to know what is the reason from the department that the PFMA cannot be applicable to Alexkor. And then the last one is, there has been mentioned as part of the court order on the administrator that it was going to have access to the bank account, and I immediately frowned because there's no accountability, there's no structure, and it's been mentioned that the financials will be brought up to date. Chairperson, through you, I would like this committee to get a full report on the financials, on how it's going to be brought up to date and how it's been brought up to date, and a full record of that. Because again, it is a very vague thing of saying access to a bank account and the financials will be up to date. And to whom is these financials being taken? To the newly elected CPA and so on. But yeah, I really would like to have more clarity on this. Thank you.
Honorable Smith.
Thank you, Chairperson. Apology that I don't put my camera on. My network is a bit, have some interference. Chairperson, my first question would be, when the committee visited Richtersveld and Alexkor in the previous term, there was mention of a lawyer that was sitting in Gauteng, that has got basically control over the finances of the the funds, and there was some dodgy things happening there. So I want to know what is the status of that specific lawyer. And has there any criminal cases being opened against any individuals? If we can have the details of those cases, case numbers, as well as for what each case is open for. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Smith. Those are the inputs from members. Can we get response from the department and the Rural Development Department and the entity as well?
Thank you, Chairperson. I will address the issues related to the PSGV and Alexkor. Unfortunately, the CEO could not join us. He had an emergency, but all the other issues relating to the PSGV we will address in full in writing to Ms. Labuskaghni. So if I can just address some of the issues in terms of the board of the PSGV. Currently, in terms of its status, the CEO is currently the board of Alexkor. There is no board at the moment. However, the PFMA allows a section 49(2) of the PFMA allows for the CEO of the public entity to be the accounting authority until such time that the board is appointed. So currently, the CEO occupies the role of the executive and also a board in the accounting authority of the Alexkor. So that role further extends to the chairperson of the pooling and sharing joint venture. So by virtue of the clause in the unanimous resolution, the CEO in this instance represents Alexkor as the accounting authority, and this entitles him to the 3 votes on the board of the PSJV. So currently, the CEO represents the accounting authority, that is the 3 members on the PSJV. The body is functioning in terms of the composition. There's 3 members from the community that were court appointed, and on the side of Alexkor, the CEO is representing the department in that respect. In terms of diamond production, unfortunately, the past 2 years, the production hasn't been, it has been quite poor. That is below 30,000, and previously in 2019 and 2016 there onwards, it was well above 50,000 tons. So it is an issue, and we have challenged the PSJV management to resolve the issues that are blocking, or some of the challenges that, so that production can improve. There's also issue of funds to undertake exploration, which the PSJV does not have. But we've challenged that in the next 3 years, they must at least look into increasing production to over 60,000. Last year there was COVID, but looking forward, we have challenged them that at least they must reach a 60,000 carat reduction. In the 45 million, yes, there is interest that is accumulated. The amount is standing over 50 million. That is about 5 million that has been the interest that is has accumulated in that account. If I can touch on the offices of Alexkor, the offices of Alexkor are located in Woodmead in Johannesburg. There's also the intention to also move into Kimberley as well. However, that is being discussed. That is looking into beneficiation, and together with the Northern Cape government, they are working towards how they can resuscitate the cutting and polishing industry with Alexkor participating in that. The reason why there's an office in Johannesburg is because of the sales and the marketing function. So Alexkor is required to have an office in Johannesburg to be able to conduct the sales and marketing function. There's issues of theft. The department is aware and of issues of theft. I believe last year there was an incident where diamonds were stolen, and those people have, or the people that were responsible, have been reported, and they have been dismissed. And I believe there's a case going on in there. But the department is aware and is trying to in a way, assist the PSJV in conducting some sort of to establish the challenges within the value chain. But the PSJV has been also challenged to look into the control of diamond theft. The other issue is it also talking to the polygraph test. I believe some of the employees of the PSJV are subjected to the polygraph test. Not all employees. It's those who are exposed or who are closer to handling of diamonds. I must say that I also followed up with De Beers, the diamond companies operating in the area, and they've also assisted in clearing this issue. They also do not conduct polygraph tests on all their employees. Is all those employees that are closer to handling of the diamonds that are subjected to polygraph test. But also the PSJV has also been looking at the issue of how they can strengthen or they can introduce the polygraph testing to other sections. But it's quite a contentious issue. Ms. Labuskagin, in terms of the PFA, I have responded to this issue a couple of times, but I can also provide further response on the issue of the PFMA. Alexkor is a Schedule 2 company, which is bound by the PFMA. However, Alexkor RMC PSJV is not listed as a Schedule 2, therefore is not bound by PFMA provision. But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't, or Alexkor must not ensure that the operations of the PSJV comply to the PFMA. The issue or the challenge is that the deed of settlement or what it intended to do is to separate the control of government over the assets, since some of the assets have been given to the community. So if the PSJV will remain as a PFMA compliant, then it will not address independence, if I can call it that, where the community are the rightful owners of the land-based marine assets. So I can also provide a full details on the PFMA compliance in terms of Alexkor versus the RMC PSJV. And that will also address some of the questions in terms of accountability. I will give to my rural development colleagues to add on the community issues.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, as I indicated, I will deal with some of the questions posed, and then my colleagues will come in, including the administrator of the CPA. Chair, let me just start here. The whole issue of administrations, remember we said it's for a period of 3 years. It started last year, February, and it will end in February, at the end of February 2023. So there will be those activities, that the administrator is expected to execute, up to that period. While of course others, like for an example, the issue of the election of the executive committee of the CPA is something that is working on to make sure that it comes before the end of the administration process. But I must clarify that. If I could start with the one of Ms. Labuskachen, I think my other colleague will elaborate further on that. The issue of the CPA is existing. The CPA is established. The only issue here is the executive committee, which from time to time, ordinary members of the CP elect it, to go so that it can manage their own affairs. The whole issue of the infighting of the CPA not functioning, I think, Chair, I may be wrong, but my observation as somebody who's responsible for the office and also interacting with both the committee and the CPA, one of the sources of conflict in that area is the whole issue of mining activities, the 45 million story, as well as this Bokubai development project. As I said earlier, there was a task team there established outside the CPA, structures, claiming to represent the very community of Rakasville. That's why as a department we said, no, we don't recognize you. We are very clear to the committee. So you'll have the mushrooming of this, factions, as one honorable member said, and this other, what do you call it, these other groups, concerned groups, all of them, they are eyeing one thing because they see opportunities for themselves. So the only legal structure, that represents the community is the CPA. And this CPA was unable, to execute the responsibilities in terms of the CPA Act, as well as its own constitution. And the DG of the department has the responsibility. If a CPA is non-compliant with both the Act and the CPA, then the DG has no options. That is through our office, the regional office in Kimberley, to try to intervene, in the affairs. What has happened, Chairperson, and this question was posed by Honorable Mokause, or why it took so long for the department to intervene. The first thing that we'd like to point out is that, remember, a CPA is a juristic person. Our role as a department, is very limited in that we are not expected, to interfere in the day-to-day running of the CPA, but rather, as the Act stipulates, the DG must provide support, and when necessary must intervene. That is why I said, when there were serious dynamics, conflicts, and infighting, as part of the intervention, we requested, our principal, deputy ministers, to come and bring together all the warring groupings within the CPA to come and resolve their issues. Like I said, he was there, that is between January 2018 and April 2019. He was there 4 times. but he could not succeed, in trying, in making sure that the various groupings within the community, they resolve this particular thing. So we were left with no option as a department to refer this matter to court to say, we have this constitution, we have this act, which is CPA, but the committee is unable, to comply with the act. So then, fortunately, the court agreed with us to say, no, there's no other way, but you must be placed under administration. So even if, a CPA is placed under administration, certain things, the CPA, needs to happen because the membership is there. And then this leads me to another question, asked by Honorable Ngwenya around membership. Honorable Ngwenya, the issue here is that even if the membership, like the administrator, what he did, he consulted everybody to make sure that the membership list is updated. But currently he's busy with the disputes. You see, there will be other members to say, no, you find that somebody is not even a member of the CPA, but they will come and claim that, no, I'm a member, but I'm not on the list. There will be all those other dynamics, challenges within the list. So the administrator cannot go ahead, even begin to call, if the membership is not in order. He can't even think of calling an annual general meeting to elect to elect the executive committee, because the very membership list is going to be used, for people, to elect members of the executive committee. So the issue here is there is no way in which, we can go to an elective AGM when the membership list is still in dispute. But the administrator will elaborate there because he's dealing directly with this. The issue of the old committee, and it was also asked by Honorable Ngwenya, but I want to link it to Honorable Smith, where he spoke about a lawyer from Gauteng. What the old committee did, because they were fully aware that they were not compliant with the CPA constitution and the act, they enlisted the services of a lawyer from Gauteng. As a department, we are never involved because CPA, in terms of the act, they are like I said, there are a percent. They can sue and they can be sued. So we are not involved. They are the ones who appointed this attorney. And I remember this attorney at some point, he harassed our then DG, asking for meetings. And then it came to a point where he said, I'm no longer going to interact with the office. Remember, our DG relies on our office. This office is the one that is the eye and ear of the DG, as to what is happening within the CPAs in the Northern Cape. So, Honorable Smith, I think the accountant's report will reveal, what has actually happened. And then that report will be shared with the committee around the finances of the CPA, or what has happened since the administrator, took office and to date. So that report will be available. But the accountant is working on that. And then this lawyer, the department has nothing to do with this. Old committee is the one, that that appointed this attorney. The reason why they are not cooperating with the administrator, our suspicion, Chair, and we are taking into confidence. Our suspicion is that the previous committee, they are fully aware that they did not, some of the things that they did were unlawful. Hence, they are unable to cooperate with the administrator, For an example, the administrator did not have access to the bank account. Hence, the DG, had to go to the relevant bank to say, look, the authorized person to deal with this is the administrator, duly appointed by the department through a court order. So that is the issue, Honorable Chairperson. And then I think I've dealt with the issue of support, where as a department, we are providing everything that we could do, to ensure that the administrator executes, this court order. Remember, as a department, we are expected, at any given time, the court can call us to say, come and report progress to us. And the very report that we have presented here, it will be the one because it's in line with the court order. So at any given time, the court can call us to come and give them progress. And then, Chair, regarding the bank account, I think it's linked to that other one of the accountant's report that I spoke to, but we'll provide the written report to the committee. If you allow me, can I ask Mr. Don Majid, who's the administrator, to come in? And when he's done, the other two colleagues will address other issues. Mr. Majid?
Yes, thanks, Mr. Moketsi. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, honorable members. Sorry, I had to join the meeting slightly later. I had a court case on this morning at 10 o'clock, and the fact that the meeting's been shifted from 3 o'clock to 10 was a bit short notice. But my apologies. I am, however, confident that the department handled the matter well in my absence. I just want to add to what Mr. Moketsi has said, namely that I'm getting the full assistance from the department in my functions as administrator. As Mr. Moketsi has correctly pointed out, I was appointed during February last year. I only received my certificate from the department during June, I think, which was in the midst of the COVID period, and which complicated the execution of my duties as administrator. It's actually the firm that was appointed administrators, and I was, appointed the responsible person dealing with this administration. I just want to elaborate on the question of the membership list, namely that the updating of the list is an ongoing process. You can just imagine that each year some of the children turn 18, so they are now adults and they are supposed to be added to the membership list. And also some of the people passes on, they have to be removed from the list. So it's an ongoing process, and there is a certain procedure in terms of which new members are being added to the list. It's in terms of the Constitution. And this process allow for objections against new members. There is an objection period, and then the objections are being dealt with by the administrator, assisted by, if for lack of a better word, subcommittee of volunteers, which availed themselves from the communities to assist me in this function. So the list has been updated, and based on that membership list, the elections took place quite recently. The elections have been finalized, and on the 30th and the 1st of December, we're having meetings with the newly elected members of the CPA committee, the newly elected directors of the companies, and the newly elected trustees of the various trusts. So the 30th we'll have the meeting with the newly elected members, and the 1st of December we will introduce these newly elected members to the communities. We have arranged, we have convened a meeting, a meeting with the community members, which will take place on the 1st of December, in terms of which questions will be answered relating to the newly elected members. From my point of view, we had a successful elections, notwithstanding certain challenges that we have. And as one of the honorable members earlier pointed out, there was in the past, there were a lot of attempts to derail the holding of these elections. And we have until now gathered that it's a certain grouping from the communities or from the CPA members who were behind the disruptions of the elections in the past, the bringing of urgent interdicts to prevent the elections to take place.
So I'm very glad that we were not surprised by urgent court applications during these elections. And I must commend the department as well as the service provider which they have sourced for the professional handling of these elections. Mr. Moketsi, I am not sure if there are any other questions which I should deal with. I tried to make a list. I know the one colleague handled the questions around Alexkor, and you also attended to some of them. So I'm not sure if you can just kindly point out if there are any further questions I need to address. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, if you allow, there is a colleague also who is directly involved here, maybe to deal with issues that have not been addressed. It's Mr. Itumele Mashune and also the director, Mayor Batlan Lekalake.
Yeah, we are in your hands. We want responses.
Good morning, honorable members. Thanks, Chair. My name is Itumele Mashune. I will try and add on what my other colleagues have already addressed. Chairperson, if you may allow us, maybe something that we need to brief the committee on and for you to assist us in understanding the complexity of Richtersveld land claim is to understand that the monitoring and compliance of this project vest in different departments. There's 9 entities to which Ms. Morongwe have explained to say there's 9 entities that were established, and one of those entities is the CPA. Now, we've placed the CPA under administration after many attempts to which the department had tried, and failing which that the community was just continuously being in disputes. Our last resort in terms of our alternative dispute resolutions is the administration in terms of the CPA Act. Now, you'll also find that within this project, there's 2 trusts. Now, all the trust in the country vests, or the monitoring thereof, is the jurisdiction of the master. And you'll find that there's also 6 companies established to run some of the developments within the community. And this is the responsibility of CIPRO insofar as dealing with the Companies Act. Now, the main challenge that we have as a CPA was meant to be the entity that oversees that all these entities are functioning properly. But because all the members that are elected are all community members, and sometimes we've picked up the element of lack of cooperation amongst them, in that the other one doesn't want to report to the other ones. And hence, on the administration plan, you'll see that we are talking of the reviews of the DOS, and we are also talking of the reviews of these other trust documents, including the CPA constitution, is because we want to begin the process of linking all these things so that then they talk to each other. We don't find a situation where the trustees are saying, I don't report to you as a CPA, or where the director of the company says, I don't report to you, the CPA. So this is part of what we are trying to work on during this administration process. Directly answering some of the questions, there was a question around the access of the bank that it seems to be vague. But the context around why the administrator needs the access to bank, we've also appointed an accountant. It's not like he just have a free access to use the money as he wishes, but mainly the activities of a CPA is so that we can organize these general meetings that are needed. We can also appoint auditors that must audit the books. So all the payments of those service providers needs to come from the money of the CPA. So it's only if he has access insofar as implementing what the community resolved during the general meetings that we can be able to achieve all these things by using the money that the CPA is in possession of. there was an issue around the 45 million, whether is it earning interest and where's the 45 million. 45 million, insofar as the records that we have, Alexkor have paid them to a trust account in the company of vessels, and I can't remember the names correctly, but the attorneys are based in Cape Town. So the 45 million years is earning interest. The last time we checked, it was around 49 million. So it does earn interest. Why did the department take so long without oversight? I've earlier indicated that we've been trying as the department to engage with the community, but what we've been experiencing a lot is the issue of conflicts. And one of the things that we're experiencing, honorable members, is that our communities are still not yet maybe trained to accept this principle of majority decision. You'll find that in a community meeting where there's 50 people and 30 are deciding or agreeing on something, you will still get 20 people being aggrieved. And when they get aggrieved, they will go and complain insofar as all structures that deals with conflicts like public protectors. They will even approach you as honorable members to say, we are not happy with 1, 2, 3. But because we are guided as the CPA Act to work within the principle of majority decision, our monitoring as we attend these meetings is to ensure that whatever that is taken as a decision is within the law. But you'll still find people who are being aggrieved because the decision doesn't favor what they were proposing in the meetings. So this is one of the things that we are experiencing, and it's something to work on as a principle, as part of us when we train people. It's one of the trainings that we must give them. What had led to the liquidations and the functioning of that company? Currently, what we've done is that the same company, which was the agricultural company, there's a joint venture where the community have entered with private company, and the company is called the Richtersveld Growers, as a way of resuscitating the whole project. At the same breath, on the other question, the investigations are continuing. We jointly with public enterprise, we've written a submission to request that the SIU must investigate all the monies that were given. The colleagues from DPE will give us a time frame as to how far is that, but as the reports we received last month is that we're waiting the gazette signed by the president to say that indeed SIU must start with the investigation. This is also answering the issue around the assets. How are we protecting all the assets? The question around the membership, colleagues have addressed it, but one thing I wanted to highlight to the honorable members is the difficulty within Richtersveld in that within their constitution, there's a clause that says a person must be woonagtig. It's like you must be a permanent resident of the 4 towns for you to be on the membership list. Now, we are experiencing a challenge in that today I might be residing in a town, but in few years, months, I get appointed in Cape Town. And with their rules, it means then I must be removed from that because I'm no longer woonagtig. So these are some of the things that keeps on taking us back and forth, because we need to have an agreement with them to say, how is that unfair to other members, and how going forward is that going to help in bringing harmony? Because when the whole claim was settled, it was based on negotiations. And with negotiations, there's some compromises that one comes to bring in the table. So this is part of us as we try to do conflict resolutions with the community, that we are hoping that we'll be able to can address all these challenges. I think lastly, the issue of the outstanding elections, my colleague have just mentioned now, we held the elections on the 6th of November, and the elections was for 9 entities, but only 3 entities. That's where we have full committee members that were elected by the communities. The other 6, you will find out of 4 towns, you'll find that a certain town only elected one because then they didn't nominate. So as the department, we have to do something like a by-election to go and finalize all those other outstanding elections. There are disputes that we are receiving, but like the administrator have just indicated now, we are meeting the community on the 29th, and on the 1st is so that we get resolution around all these disputes that you normally get. But all disputes, when you read them, people are being personal with each other. There's no substance, because for all the rules that the administrator had appointed or had approved during the beginning of the election process, people are complying with that, but you still find complaints coming that are outside those regulations. I think those were the things that I wanted to highlight, honorable members, and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Chair. Can I come in to all the honorable members? My name is Batlang Lekalake. Just to touch on the issue of post-settlement support. The intention is that once we finalize the other 6 elections for the other 6 entities, we will then continue with providing the necessary training relevant for them. And as part of the ongoing process, the administrator will continue working with the elected CPA members as part of capacity building, so that by the time the administration period has been finalized, there is proper handover to all the structures in the CPA committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are you done?
Yes, Honorable Chairperson, that is the story from Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development.
Thank you very much. I still see the hand of Honorable Lavskakni. Maybe it's a follow-up. Let me allow honorable members, if they have got follow-up questions, to do that. Honorable Lavskakni.
Thank you very much,
And
Chair.
Honorable Ngwenya. Yes.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Yes, the first thing I would ask, or a comment that I want to make, and yes, it was said, the answer was given that according to the fact that the Alexkor or the PSJV is not does not have to comply to the PFMA because of their sort of have to be independent. But at the same time, the answer was given to me when I asked about the PSGV and the impact on the CPA and all those things. I asked about the board and the functioning of that. And then it was said to me, but according to the PFMA, a certain section in the PFMA allows the board not to have the number of members that they should have, and is actually, according to me, then illegally functioning and is unlawful, because the PFMA is not applicable. But when it comes to the composition of the board, the PFMA is applicable. So for me, sitting here as a member of parliament, as not an expert, I don't understand how does it work that for one thing, the PFMA is applicable, but for something else, the PFMA is not applicable. Now, the PFMA is actually a legislation that's focusing more on the goal, the whole essence of it is to make sure that there's financial accountability. Now, financial accountability raises the following question. When the last person came on and answered, he said that the government or the state spent 1 billion rand on the PSJV. Now, I would like to know, as the member of parliament, what was that 1 billion rand spent on? And as it is not, doesn't have to answer according to the rules of Parliament or of the PFMA, so there's no report that goes to the department and so on. Can I now request, Chair, through you, and I want this to be minuted, that this committee get a breakdown of the 1 billion rand that was now mentioned that has been spent on the PSJV and for what has it been spent. I would like to know that. And then there was a reference to the Special Investigation Unit. I would like to know, I just want some clarity on what would be investigated, because Chairperson, through you, I really, at the end of this, I've sat through the previous Parliament for 5 years with all these questions and all these answers, and it's again 2.5 years later, and I'm still at the same place where I've been. There has been a little bit progress, I must say, on the CPA, and I acknowledge that. But for the rest, I'm still in the dark as it's been. So I would go into this position and say, you know, maybe we should have an parliamentary inquiry into the functioning of Alexkor. That would be the first prize. And that should be, you know, the only way we can do that is to establish an ad hoc committee that has to be agreed upon by all the parties in this committee so that we can start an inquiry into Alexkor, because we can't go on for 10 years as Parliament supposed to have an oversight role and we accomplish nothing, and or the department must be prepared to have another forensic investigation into the total functioning, not only on the supply management or on certain aspects that's being brought to their attention, but to the total functioning of Alexkor and the PSJV, and or the last resort will have to be, or another resort will have to then to increase include a broad investigation if the SIU is in any case going to investigate some aspects of the functioning. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Ngwenya.
Thanks, Chairperson. And also thank you for the response from the department. Chair, I think the department, when they come on our next meeting, I cannot say they must write it down, Chair, because I could see when they respond that there is a big challenge in terms of this issue of membership. And you remember that my question, Chair, was on the delaying of resolving this issue. So, Chair, we need a report now that is telling us that what are the plans that are they having in terms of solving this problem, Chair? Because it's not enough to report what they've said, but I accept it, Chair. The response that they responded, but it is not what I was expecting. I was expecting maybe because it's so long, Chair, this problem, it's outstanding. So I was expecting maybe their answer will say, yes, it is a long time issue, but we have solved it 1, 2, 3. Can the department tell us how are they going to come with the timeline of resolving this problem? And what are they doing right now in terms of solving this problem, Chair? Thank you.
Honorable Mgausi.
Chairperson, I share the same sentiments with my colleagues. Those who have been in the past Parliament in the NCOP have pointed out that this matter comes a very long way. And we still do not hear anything that is taking us forward, Chairperson. We still do not hear what is it that the department is going to do to resolve these issues. And also, Chairperson, I strongly believe that we cannot wait long for the people to suffer alone. We see that the department is not assisting much. Maybe we need to derive some means from the side of the select committee to actually make recommendations as to what needs to happen, and even do some sort of a physical oversight to Rechterveld again. Because the presentations here are not going to assist us. as the way responses are coming through, it's not assisting a chairperson. So in their closing remarks, maybe they should just enlighten the committee as to what is their final step. How are they resolving this matter? Monies are spent. We cannot be told that people are not obliged to account to public money. It's incorrect to even say it on a public platform like this, Chairperson. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Chairperson. Oh, sorry.
Honorable Smith and Honorable Nana, I forgot, Honorable Nana, that you raised your hand physically.
Sorry, Chair. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I would like to second the recommendation by the Honorable Kathy Labuschagne that we actually call for a ad hoc committee of inquiry into the operation of Alexkor, because it is clear that things are not getting to a point, and it has been now for many years a problem. And there is some very questionable activities that has been taking place there. So I want to second that recommendation and put it on the record. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Nana.
Hello. Chairman, Honorable Smith has partly covered me, because I thought the proposal by Honorable Labuschagne was really giving us a proper way forward. And of course, this really is in your hands, Chairman. But I think a proper inquiry into the affairs of what is happening in Dachterveld is the best thing to do. But secondly, Chairman, there's a couple of questions that were not answered, and one of those: how much will the department rate itself out of 10, given that this matter has been lingering, staying unresolved for over 20 years now? And the second issue, I do take the fact that they've mentioned that they're waiting for the president to sign a proclamation so that the SIU can move in. But I also asked an issue about the directors and their role in the disappearance of the directors of the company that was liquidated. What actions are they planning to take? And unfortunately, Chairman, I need to disconnect and join another meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there are any responses that we can get before we can look into issues that were raised by honorable members that affects us as the committee. Do we have any response? If we don't have, we can put them in writing back to us. But can you respond to
Chairperson?
Yes.
Honorable Chairperson, we have noted what has been said. On the issue of us, rating ourselves, Chair, I will recommend that that question, be directed to my boss. I'm aware that my DDG is here, but the relevant person, to respond to that, because we are reporting to him, it will be our DG, Chairperson. I don't want to say out of 10, maybe it's 1, So, yeah. And I hope I'm not putting my boss in the corner here, Chairperson. Yeah.
You can't rate yourself, eh?
Yes, Honorable Chairperson. Yeah, but maybe I think, Mr. Mashune, if you could just clarify that issue of the SIU, I think And also, Mr. Majid, the issue once more of the membership list. So those are the two that I've picked up. If we could quickly respond to them.
All right, thanks, Chairperson. The issue of directors that were disqualified or those that were implicated in the recent elections that took place on the 6th, we held a special general meetings with the community before the elections took place so that we do a criteria to say who qualifies and who doesn't qualify. And one of the criteria that the community had agreed on is that any other person who had been in the structures before and he has never reported to the community must not qualify to be nominated or even being elected. And this is what we've seen even with the result of the elections, that community maintained on that even those directors, because the forensic report has not yet been even presented to them, they didn't even nominate those people or even elect them. The CPA structures are so that the community plays a central decision making. The CPA could be under administration, but the administrator doesn't have a sole discretion to take some of the decisions without consulting the community. The issue of the membership that were agreed on during April was the membership list so that we can reach the elections, and hence we've held the elections on the 6th. It's because of the resolution that the community have gave us. We've updated that membership insofar as removing people that have moved out of the towns, those who are deceased, and even amending the list insofar as the ID numbers that were incorrect. Now, the second step that we are engaging in now, it's where there was a dispute about people from 2014 until 2021 who also has to come to the membership. That process, it closed the list that we had published, which is only showing people the new applications from 2014 until 2021. We've published it, and then the closing date for such was last week. Now, with the new committee that was appointed now on the 6th, hence we are meeting them from next week. These are some of the tasks to which the committee will finalize insofar as saying, here's a final list, and this final list is the list that can be given to what is called the investment trust, and that's where the dividends are being declared. So the trust that deals with paying people dividends relies on the CPA insofar as the list is concerned. But as the administration team, the process closed on the 19th, and what we need to do now is to meet with the newly elected committee to check all the objections that we might have received so that we can give the list to the investment company. If there is any other applications that will come, we'll deal with them in next year, because in terms of our schedule, people can only apply for membership in Rechtersveld during October month. So that then between November and December, we are concentrating on the adoptions of such lists. In short, that was I can report, Chairperson. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And unless the administrator have got something to say.
Thanks, Chairperson. Now, Mr. Mashune has actually covered what I wanted to say. I thank him for that. So I have got nothing further to add. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we need to start on the issue raised by Honorable Abskakni. She's got an advantage that they have been able to be in this committee for the past years. But I'll recommend to the committee that because we have got an outstanding oversight to Alexkor, what Honorable Mukause raised, the administrators in the committees must then facilitate the oversight to Alexkor, which we had postponed in the previous terms. Let's prioritize it in the next term and be the first thing that we do, so that out of recommendations that have been put by the committee is able to satisfy itself when we are all there, physical oversight, be able to look into key issues that are there. There are issues that were raised in relation to financials. And I think the administrator, together with the CPA and the department, should be able to provide those details, because they have not yet been provided for to the committee. All the issues that were raised which were not answered, would expect them to be given to us in writing, so that before we go to oversight to Alexkor, everyone is satisfied in terms of the issues that when we started, there was an issue around the attendance of the minister and the deputy minister to the committee. I recommend that besides us raising it, we should have from committee secretariat just a snapshot in terms of the attendance of the minister and deputy minister. We must indicate to the department, it is not only public enterprise that attends the committee meetings. Last week, we were having the Minister of Communication. Despite the fact that she was attending cabinet, she was able to come, give a political brief, and request to be released, and the committee allowed her to be released. I think it should be the route that we take if indeed we are not able to be given space. As long as we have got political leadership that gives input on the issues that are raised, because besides the entities and administration, we are doing oversight on the political leadership, and they must take political responsibilities. We are going to write to them and indicate the displeasure that the committee is having towards them, and that we also expect an apology, written apology to this committee, so that whatever we have raised is taken very seriously by the political leadership of the department. That will bring to the end of this session, and we request that we release administration and the department will remain as a committee to finalize our key issues. Thank you very much, department administrator, Don and your team. You are released.
Thanks, Chairperson. Goodbye, everyone.
Chair,
Honorable Ngwenya.
are we done? I was out then and came out. I found my video is quiet.
We are done. We are just waiting for the minutes, Honorable Ngwenya.
Okay, thanks, Chair.
Secretary, have you provided the minutes to members of the committee?
Yes, Chair, they were shared to the members of the committee.
Okay. We are presenting the minutes of the previous meeting to the committee for consideration. If there are any corrections, because they were supplied on time. There are no corrections. Can we get somebody to move for the adoption and secondment? Honorable members.
Chair, I was not present. I can't adopt the minutes. Thank you.
Okay. No, if we can.
Lindwe PP adopts the minutes.
Okay. I was surprised, Uri, where are you, mom, baby?
Sorry, Mama Matine. Bengizuthabanga azongibuyisa e-TV office. Now, I'm just listening. Yini kwenzekani? Sengizumama uWinnie ethi I was not there. Ngithi ha nakho ngizoqosha emsebenzini.
No, thank you very much, honorable members. I think we must indicate to the committee secretariat and Eric that you must start facilitating the issue of the visit to Alexkor. It is very urgent. We need to go to Alexkor. In any space that you have in the next term, let's prioritize visiting to Alexkor. We can't have a situation where there's still issues hanging. You can hear there are monies that are not accounted for, and we are sitting here as the committee and we are not aware of what is happening. Otherwise, by the time we go there, we might find that we are in serious trouble. Can we prioritize that and ensure that you inform the committee as to when are we visiting Alexkor? If there is anything we need to prioritize, is the visit to Alexkor. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Excuse me, Chair.
Chair, thank you.
There was no second, Chair, for the minutes.
Minutes. Oh.
I second, Chairperson. The minutes.
Oh, that's annulled.
Thank you. Let's prioritize the visit, administration. Thank you.
Noted, Chair.
Okay, Chairperson. Thank you, guys.
Chair.
See you in the chamber.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye now.